Welcome back! My name is Baller Scuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1982. Today, we're going to talk about Wizardry 2. The story of Wizardry 2 takes us back to Sir-Tech Software. We have previously talked about Sir-Tech Software in our videos on Wizardry. The original Wizardry was designed by Andrew C. Greenberg and Robert J. Woodhead. Wizardry 2 would be designed by the same two programmers. Wizardry 2, originally named Wizardry Knight of Diamonds, the second scenario, is a direct sequel to the first Wizardry. The first Wizardry would be renamed as Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. Wizardry 2 takes place directly after the first game. When playing the original Wizardry 2, the player cannot create any new characters. The only way to play the original version of Wizardry 2 is to import characters from Wizardry 1. That means that the game can only be played by players who own Wizardry 1 and is only recommended for players who have beaten Wizardry 1. Mechanically, not much is different between Wizardry 1 and Wizardry 2. The game plays the same. The biggest change is that the game now allows the player to save and quit in the middle of a dungeon instead of forcing the player to leave the dungeon before saving. There are 6 new levels for the player to explore, and some of the spells in the game have become more powerful. It is highly recommended that all the characters in the game start at least level 13, although I've seen recommendations as high as level 18. Wizardry 2 was released in 1982 for computers. That is the short backstory to Wizardry 2. With that now told, it is time to read from the manual about the story of the game. It starts with the World of Wizardry, Chapter 2. That reads, "All is not well in the peaceful city of Lilgamin. The evil usurper Davelpus had managed to kill most of the royal family and take over the kingdom. Davelpus was defeated, but during the ensuing chaos, the fabled enchanted armor of the Knight of Diamonds vanished. The patron god of the city, Nilda, looked upon the ruins of her temple and was mightily displeased. She took back her great gift to the city, the Staff of Nilda, and decreed that only a mighty champion could reclaim it. The oracles warn that the champion must arrive at the temple, wearing the full regalia of the Knight of Diamonds, in order to be deemed worthy. The sages of Lilgamin are looking to you, brave warriors, to enter the ruins of the Temple of Nilda and find the armor of the Knight of Diamonds. When you return the armor to Nilda, the staff will be restored to the city. It won't be easy. The same pair of award-winning designers that made the Proving Grounds such an unhealthy place to visit have again labored mightily to amuse, confound, and delight you. The traps are tougher, and the monsters are meaner. But if you survived the Proving Grounds, you should be tougher and meaner too. There are also briefing materials that provide more details on the backstory. That reads, "The Staff of Nilda was the first example of its creator's forging skill. When properly used, it rendered the city of Lilgamin invulnerable. The staff projected a force field totally impervious to any physical or magical attack. Those who wanted to threaten Lilgamin could not approach the city, while those who came with goodwill could enter and leave freely. It was the perfect defense, but it had one fatal flaw. Those born in Lilgamin were unaffected by the staff. Thus it was possible for the evil Davelpus, aided by the forces of darkness, to seize the throne of Lilgamin and slay the royal family. Fortunately, the young Princess Margda and her brother Prince Alavic survived the royal coup. Margda and Alavic both knew that there was but one hope of defeating Davelpus. Together, they retrieved the fabled armor of the great hero, the Knight of Diamonds. Alivik, wearing the mystical garb and carrying the staff, engaged Davelpus in an epic battle in the castle of Lilgamen. Davelpus fell, but with his dying breath uttered a curse so unspeakable that it brought the castle down around the two combatants. All that was left was a smoking hole in the ground. Davelpus, Alivik, and the staff were gone. If it is not returned, the city will fall. With the manual now read, it's time to get into the game itself. And here we are in the game. This is Wizardry, scenario number 2, the Knight of Diamonds. This screen will look very familiar for people that did watch my original videos on Wizardry. If you have not seen them, I would recommend watching them simply because we're basically bringing those characters forward and there's a bit of history there. So I will say that today we are not going to actually be playing the game. We're not going to actually get into gameplay. I'm going to kind of present what is happening, how I'm going to approach this game, and then I'll have to take some time off to get that set up. So let's head into the game. As you might notice, this looks very familiar, as does pretty much every screen here. So here we are in Lilgamen. It no longer says castle, it says Lilgamen at the top. But pretty much everything else is the same at this point. We have Gilgamesh's Tavern, we have the Adventurer's Inn, we have the Temple of Cant, Boltax Trading Post, and we have Edge of Town. So let's start by heading to Gilgamesh's Tavern. As you can see, everything here is the same. If you were playing the original Apple II versions of these games, the actual original versions, Divi Gold would not have been in Wizardry 1. That would have been new here in Wizardry 2. Divi Gold just allows you to split your gold between your entire party evenly. It was something that I was doing a lot, but it was more of a small little upgrade that didn't change much. It was just kind of a small thing that you could have traded gold all the time anyway. This was just something that would have made it easier for you to add everything, to every character evenly. But what I can do is I can try to add party members to my party. As you can see, there aren't any there, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. We also have access to the Adventurer's Inn, the Temple of Cant, and Boltax Trading Post. Because we don't have any characters in our party, they won't even let us look at it. There's nothing there. We can, though, go to the Edge of Town. And here we can go to good old-fashioned training grounds. I spent a lot of time here off-screen. But you might have noticed that things are a little bit different here. You can't actually create a character. We're playing one of the more original versions of the game. Later versions of the game would allow you to create a character, and they would be level 1. It would not be the best way to play the game to create a character in Wizardry 2, because there are no easy monsters here. Every character, I should say every monster is designed for characters of at least level 13. So if you create a character here, they're level 1, you better have somebody else along so that you can actually kill the monsters and get them experience points. Because if you're all level 1, you have 6 level 1 party members and you're trying to take on level 13 monsters, you're not going to have an easy time. So the idea was that you were supposed to have beaten Wizardry 1 and you bring the characters forward into Wizardry 2. That's the idea. That's the premise of this game. And if you're playing one of the original versions, it's really the only way you can go. Now, I've heard a couple mixes here and there. Some people say that you can only bring forward characters that have been victorious in Wizardry 1. Others say that you can bring forward any character from Wizardry 1. I can't get a full answer to that myself. So my interpretation is that some versions allow you to do it one way, some versions allow you to do it the other way. We can try to look at my roster of characters. As you can see, it is blank. I don't have any characters in this game. So let's go back to the edge of town and we'll go to utilities. This is how it's supposed to go. If you look at the manual for Wizardry 2, about half of the manual is trying to explain how to move your characters forward because they assume that you already had Wizardry 1 and you basically know how to play the game. So if you go to utilities, you can see move characters here. My list is empty. There we go. Now my list is empty. I, for the life of me, cannot get this to work. I have tried everything that I can think of to try to, for this game to read the scenario disc that I have from Wizardry 1 of me winning. I cannot get that to work. Right now, Wizardry 1 scenario disc is in the same folder as the Wizardry 2 scenario disc. It's not reading it. It's not figuring out where everything is. For those of you that did not watch my Wizardry 1 Let's Play, or those of you that have forgotten, I had to cheat. Well, I didn't have to, but I did. I cheated in order to save myself roughly 20 hours of level grinding. I should say at least 20 hours of level grinding because there was a significant chance that something would have gone wrong and I would have had to restart and try again. So my characters are already, not normal. I have cheated to get those characters. I'm going to bring those characters forward. I'm going to try to bring forward as many as I can. I believe that there are 12 2 parties of 6 for me to bring forward. In order to get that to happen, I'm going to manually edit the save game to bring them forward. It's taken a little bit of time for me to get that done. I've already tried a little bit because the formatting isn't exactly the same. So me trying to figure out where all the where everything goes, where like the levels go versus the race versus all that kind of stuff, where all that goes is taking me a little bit of time, but I will get it. And once I get it done for one, it'll be easy to move forward from there. So I should be able to bring all my characters forward. Like I said in the introduction, it is highly recommended that your characters are at least level 13 when you bring them forward. But I have seen recommendations up to level 18. And if you remember, my super overpowered party from the previous game was level 20. So I have no problem bringing forward my level 20 characters. A lot of people recommend continuing to play Wizardry 1 until you can get basically your best party together possible, and then bringing them forward into Wizardry 2 because Wizardry 2 is harder. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is manually edit the save and try to bring my characters with me as best as I can. So we will see what happens with them. And hopefully I can get that figured out relatively quickly. So that is what I'm going to do now that I know a little bit more about the mechanics of this game when it comes to the technical aspects of it and having backup saves and all that kind of stuff. That is what we are going to be doing moving forward. I will say that last game had 10 levels. This game does have 6, but those 6 are all required. You do have to get something on every level, whereas in the previous game, you could skip a whole bunch of levels. I will also say that there's no elevator in this game, so we are actually going to be going through all 6 levels every time we do have to go from staircase to staircase. So that is basically where we are to start this one. Like I said, I have a little bit of work ahead of me. That's kind of expected. Every time I play Wizardry, I'm going to have to do some work off screen between videos. So that is what is going to happen this time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you laughed. I hope you learned. And I hope to see you next time for more Wizardry 2. Thanks for watching.